This is figure 395, which is a housing. Let's study this diagram real quick. I'm going to make two circles to begin this drawing, one at 1 5/8 inch radius and one at 2 9/16 inch radius. Then I'm going to trim away this piece. I'm also going to make this center line. And I'm going to offset that center line 3.5 inches down to get this line. Now pay particular attention to this corner. This corner right here at the bottom is not on this center line, vertical center line going down. What you have to do is you have to make a line tangent to this circle down here at a distance of -60 degrees and make it intersect with that line we offset to get that corner and then finish up the drawing. So it's going to go something like this. Again, I'm going to make a circle 1 5/8 inch radius, 1 5/8. Okay, and I'm going to make another circle 2 9/16 inch radius, and I'm going to make it on the center point here. So it's going to be 2 9/16. All right, and I'm going to move these. I'm going to move this drawing a little bit so it gets out of my way so I can see. All right, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make this line, and it's going to be can be of arbitrary distance. Just make it wider than the circles. We're not worried about being accurate right now. I'm going to offset that line 3.5 inches down. 3.5 is my offset. All right. Now, remember I told you that this inside line right here is tangent to this circle. And so what we have to do is we have to come here and make a line. I've got the polar button at the bottom of your screen. Turn it on. And I'm going to make sure my tangent is on. I'm going to turn off center and endpoint. That way it'll appear. And so you see the yellow circle with the tangent. I'm going to pull that down until I get, and I'm just going to make a arbitrary distance. I'm just going to say at 5 less than -60. And you'll see where this line intersects right here, and I can go back and I can trim that away. Trim this overlap. Okay, now if I look at my drawing again, I just created that corner. Now this corner right here is 1 7/8 inch away, and then we can also go back from that corner 3 3/4. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to make a line. I got to go back and turn on my endpoint OSNAP and also tangent. So I'm going to go back to my left 3 3/4 at 3 3/4, 0. I'm sorry, I'm going to undo that. I went the wrong way. All right, let me do that one more time. I'm going to click this, turn on endpoint right here, and it's going to be at -3.75, 0. There we go, and now I can offset this line. That's going to be a height of 1 inch. I can offset them both. So I'm going to offset this line 1 inch. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I have to actually, I shouldn't do that. I'll go back and fix that one later. I can draw a line right here and finish this up. And I'm going to make, so you can see where my left hand side I've completed that. I'm going to make this curve right here that connects these two pieces. I'm going to use a tangent radius circle. in order to do that with. So I'm going to create a circle. Right mouse click, select TTR, and I'm going to where it's tangent on that curve, this line, and I'm going to enter a radius of 1/2. And now you can see where I can trim away the pieces I don't need to make it look like in the book. Okay, now this is 1 7/8 inch across, which is going to be, that's going to be half of 3 3/4. So I can go ahead and make a line. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I got to delete this one. Alright, so 1 7/8. I'm going to go at 1/7/8, comma 0. I'm going to do it again at 1-7/8, comma 0. Do it again. I'm going to go up 1 at 0, comma 1. Press enter. And lastly, I can go back this way, just an arbitrary distance. I'll show you why in a minute. Alright, I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete this line. Now you can tell I've got this corner. I can create this corner, which is at 60 degrees. I'm going to make it 60 degrees, which I have to draw, of course, at 120. You can see on my screen, polar button says 120, and I can just make it far enough to where it intersects that inner circle. And now I can go back and I can trim away some of what I don't need. I'm going to zoom into this piece and delete it. I'm almost done. I don't need that line anymore. I've just got to clean up and make this side look different. Now this is a 1-inch thickness, so I'm going to use the offset command to offset that line I just created, and then make this last circle here of a 1/2 inch radius, and I'll be done. Alright, so I'm going to use offset, 1-inch distance, offset this line 1 inch, and lastly another TTR circle. I'm going to make it a 1/2 inch radius. From there to there, 1/2. I'm going to trim it up. Get rid of the pieces I don't need. Alright. I'm going to have to trim a little bit more. And lastly, I delete that piece. Now I have to create a box, a rectangle. I need my dimension, let's see, my quadrant no snap selected. And do that again. Now I'm just going to simply draw my polyline tool, and I'm going to center it from that square to that square. And I need this corner to that corner. And now I can move turn on my midpoint. I can delete what I don't need. Of course, this is housing. So I got to change my description to read housing. And of course, make sure your date's selected 1:1 YHS, and you're finished.